Hey, what's up everybody? This is OurMusicBox and today I want to go over some of my feelings on how I think Borderlands 3 is doing as a whole right now and kind of just rant a little bit on where I think the game should go and what I think about the game as of right now, as of DLC 1, because there's only been a small hotfix past DLC 1, so that's pretty much all the up to where we have about content, balance of the game, everything like that. So first off, all the videos I'm doing right now are of Borderlands 3. That's pretty much where all my views are going to come from as of right now. And I'm still doing videos on Borderlands 3, but I'm not actually playing the game past doing the videos. I'll usually just get on, do what I'm doing for a video, get the footage of a video, and not play it at all anymore. I don't think, even when the DLC came out, I only played it for a couple of days, actually just playing it, and some of that was still getting footage, but I haven't really grinded anything or played a ton for quite a while on Borderlands 3, and there's a few reasons for that. First off, like I've said before in some videos where we're going over some patches, there really still isn't an end game to Borderlands 3. It's pretty much just farming for some gear to be able to farm for gear faster, and that is in a lot of RPGs and a lot of end game focused games, that is pretty much what you're doing. But with Borderlands, there's not like that fun game mode or that fun thing to do that's really fun, that's really difficult, that a lot of people are just doing that keep a lot of people in the game, that's something to strive for. Pretty much the only thing that's considered like a hardcore end game is Mayhem 4 soloing the raid, because that's actually difficult. And as my last videos have done, they've showed that even without the best anointeds, you can do the raid solo on Mayhem 4 without much difficulty. And past that, the raid, in my opinion, the Melee 1 takedown, is not fun to farm in any way. They made it very difficult to go farm that raid for the items, which is the only reason you want to do it. Past the first few times, it's not fun to do. It's kind of just annoying to farm because it takes so long, because there's so many enemies to get to the last boss, which has pretty much the items people actually want from there. And that's pretty much the only endgame content. Both the currencies in the game, Iridium and money or cash, aren't useful in any way. After you get all your SDUs, Iridium is not useful, or cash is not useful. Iridium's not useful past all the cosmetics, the vendors for Iridium. If there's anything you even want in there, just playing the game, you're going to get so much Iridium and cash that you'll have nothing to do with it. The only thing for us to use past the cash to use cash on are vending machines, which doing anything else in the game is going to give you better rewards. So the two currencies in the game, absolutely useless. Guardian ranks have a cap, and they're pretty much, the stats are so minimal, they're completely useless after getting all the perks, which are pretty strong. So there's no reason to really care about experience that much after you get all the Guardian perks and are at max level. And then it's just gear farming to farm gear faster. Now, the only thing that's really fun for me in the end game is figuring out really cool builds, and I've done most of them because the balance of the game doesn't really let you do a ton of like wacky builds to do anything. Very efficient on Mayhem 4, and that's pretty much my thoughts about the end game right now. DLC 1 really didn't add much end game. It added one of the strongest weapons, but everything in the DLC is so easy to farm. Most of the DLC bosses still drop stuff almost guaranteed, pretty sure guaranteed on Mayhem 4 for a lot of their dedicated drops. So the Ion Can, you can go get it super easily. Everything else is easy to get, and it's just a story-based campaign. It was pretty lackluster in my opinion, not because of the story, not because of the cool boss fights, because a lot of them are pretty cool, because it didn't add anything in the end game to do. It didn't add more levels, it didn't add new characters, which they said they're not going to do. It didn't add new talent rows or new talent additions. It didn't really add anything besides the story and a few weapons and gear items to farm. With games nowadays, is not going to keep people playing your game. People are going to go do the new stuff, the DLC, farm the boss a few times, and be done. The only reason, like I said, the only reason I'm still doing like anything in the game is because I'm doing videos, and at this point I really don't know what to do in Borderlands videos anymore. I've pretty much gone over most of the useful builds. I've pretty much gone over and re-gone over most of the glitches to try to keep people updated on those, and there's really not a ton of new glitches being found, not a ton of new builds being found, and that's pretty much the position Borderlands 3 is in. Now, some of the stuff a lot of people have talked about, also this is a rant, this probably isn't going to be a super concise video, it's probably going to be all over the place. That's pretty much what rants are going to be, but in my opinion, a lot of people talk about balance in the game. It's a PvE game without any PvP, without leaderboards. It does not need tight balancing whatsoever. Even some of the biggest YouTubers have talked about needing more balance in the game. The only thing I think that the game needs for balance is to make sure every class can do everything solo on the hardest difficulty, which they can right now. That's the raid. And then just making sure there is not a class or weapon so far ahead that you can just smash your face on your keyboard and do everything you want. Which the only things that are close to that, I think, is an ion cannon, which everyone can use, so it's not as big of an issue. And then like maybe Amara builds a spiritual driver. Those are so incredibly strong. Those are the only things that I could think that could possibly have warranted slight nerfs to them. But past that, you don't need super tight balancing. So what do I think the game needs? I think the game needs clearly technical issues fixed. The performance is pretty bad. I have a high-end PC and I still don't get even close to the frames I should be getting on medium settings. When I'm in combat, when you have all of these animations going, which are the biggest drain on the performance of the game, I'm getting down into like 70 FPS on medium settings with a legitimately high-end PC that's about $1,500. That shouldn't be that. There's still big menu lag, especially on consoles. I know consoles, this is 10 times worse than high-end PCs. They need to fix the menu lag. They need to increase performance. They need to fix split screen stuff. That's all technical side stuff. Past the technical side stuff, we need endgame content. Legitimate endgame content. Stuff that takes a while to get. Stuff that you can pretty much focus on, that you can know exactly what you need to do to get these items, to get this loot, to progress in this way, which there is dedicated drops now, which help, but there's nothing to use these dedicated drops on. You can solo the raid on Mayhem 4 somewhat easily without even the best anointeds, and past that, that's the hardest thing. There's nothing that takes any amount of skill to do. None of the other bosses really take skill. It doesn't take super good gear to do anything on Mayhem 4. And that's pretty much it. Like, there's nothing else to do. So they need to fix the technical side stuff, and we just need more endgame content, more stuff the endgame to do. Give currencies a reason to be farmed and used. Like, that's a whole part of the game where they put in all this iridium that you can go farm, all these different spots you could farm iridium. There's all these different things you could do to go farm cash, and there's completely zero uses for either of those past. Like, once you hit 50, you probably have most of your SDUs. You probably bought most of the cosmetics for iridium. Those are useless. There's no way to increase drops for things you want, and like everything else I said, which I've probably said multiple times in this video, we just need more endgame stuff. As for me doing Borderlands 3 videos, if any of you guys really care and are watching this video at this point, I might still do some builds. I think there's some builds I could still possibly do, but I'm probably going to start going over some other games. There are some games coming early 2020, like Minecraft Dungeons, like New World, stuff like that. There's still more RPG endgame progression based stuff that I'm probably going to be switching my focus to when they come out. So you'll see that stuff if you guys want to stick around. I know a lot of people that are currently watching my channel, probably a lot of them aren't going to be watching if it's not Borderlands 3 stuff. I understand that, but that's pretty much all I want to go over. Just a bit of rant on where Borderlands 3 is. I don't think it's in a really great spot. I don't think it's like some dead game or anything like some people have been saying, but I think there's really just nothing to do in the end game, and there's not a lot of reason for hardcore players to continue playing the game at this point. So since this has been like a rant video and pretty much been all over the place, I want to kind of summarize a little bit all of my thoughts on this. First off, fix the technical issues. They should have been fixed a while ago. We need better performance. We need no menu lag or a lot less menu lag, and don't stop releasing content just because those need fixed. You're a massive company. The game has been a massive success in terms of sales. Have different teams, have content still coming out with technical side stuff being fixed simultaneously. That's pretty much the whole of it. We need endgame stuff. We need reasons to keep playing the game as hardcore players, and in my opinion, the hardcore players are the people that are going to make up the community, are going to be the people that continue to play the game. You should be catering to the hardcore players, the players that like the franchise, that like the universe, that are continued to put in hours, get all the DLCs. You should be catering to them. Give us reasons to farm both the currencies in the game. They're completely useless, and give us reasons to continue to farm the best items in the game. Give us stuff to use us on. Give us hard endgame content that has cool rewards, that's actually fun to do, and not just a pretty much time sink like the raid is right now to get to the thing we actually want to do, which is the last boss in the raid. One thing I also want to talk about is I think something that would be really good for this game that's used in a lot of dungeon crawlers like Diablo, like PoE, stuff like that, is endlessly increasing difficulties of something you can do. So say if they even just added a new mode to slaughter shafts that made the enemies get stronger every wave. So it's not made for you to beat, but every wave enemies get stronger, every every wave you have a higher chance to get stuff. You can put modifiers on those pieces of content to make them different challenges for you, give it random enemies thrown in there. Even just that would give people enough like incentive to go farm best items that they can for their build to get as high as they could, and maybe add leaderboards and that stuff. Pretty much like Rifts in Diablo 3 or something like that. Just something to do to have a reason to farm these builds to get the best anointeds, to get the best rolls, to get the best prefixes on your items. Just give us something to do with them, something challenging for solo and for groups, and just pretty much any content in the end game to continually want to do that's something fun or challenging. So hopefully that summarized a little bit more. Still a bit of a rant, still a bit of all over the place. So it's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Just wanted to go over this bit of a rant on the game right now. Subscribe if you want to see more Borderlands 3 content or other games that I'll probably be going over soon. Let me know what you guys think about the state that Borderlands 3 is in. If you agree with me, if you do disagree with me, leave it in the comments, and thanks for watching.